beautiful Oak Street Beach, home of the 2022 Chicago Open. Here just steps away from Michigan Avenue, and this not only a fan favorite but a player favorite. All the players love to come to Chicago here on Labor Day. Welcome inside Stadium Court. I'm Dane Bland alongside 2008 indoor Olympic gold medalist Rich Lamborn. And Rich, we got the #1 seed on the court, Brunner and Schalk. What do you expect?
Well, yeah, they are the #1 seed. They've been in just about every final this year, it seems like. But we do have a team that's played spoiler already once this year in Hagen Smith and Jake Dietrich as well. So this should be a very, very interesting first-round matchup.
Yeah, Dietrich and Hagen Smith, a lot of fun to watch, a lot of fireworks going on here. And so we are going to get set and ready to go. And for that, of course, player introductions, we head to Mark Sherman.
And let's meet the boys of our fourth match of the day here on the Stadium Court. First match for both these teams, first round winners bracket, and this first guy, well, he got his college ball started at LA Pierce College. Oh yeah, I got to play against him when I was at Santa Monica College. I think we had a pretty good record against you guys too, actually. We did pretty well. Yeah, it must have been John Mayer and Billy Allen. They were good coaches. I played really well against Jake, actually. I had a really solid career, really solid. He blocked me once, only once. And we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, he went on to UC Santa Cruz. Now he's back down in sunny Southern California. Let me hear it for Jake Dietrich. And his partner out of Pacific Palisades, California, the Bruin out of UCLA. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear it for the high-flying Hagen Smith. And their opponents, they're having a real good run in the Gold Series, but they want the win here in Chicago. Currently coming in first place in the road to Phoenix and looking to seal that here in Chicago. First guy originally out of Ridgefield, Connecticut, and UC Santa Barbara. Let me hear it for the big fella, Theo Brunner. And his partner, the Olympian out of Red Deer, Alberta, Canada, now lives in the sunny South Bay. A two-time winner on the AVP Tour. It's Schalk.
Well, thank you, Mark Sherman, for those introductions. And look at the standings. It's all about the Gold Series. It started in Atlanta, then it went to Manhattan Beach, and this is the final one here in Chicago. Brunner and Schalk, they lead, and if they get a top 4, they will clinch. Only 4 teams get that automatic into the Phoenix Championship. Love the race to Phoenix.
Yeah, it's a kind of a new concept. I believe what that said there is that they've already clinched a spot in the top 4 with their 2 second-place finishes. But I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that, Rich. They have clinched, and now it's just a matter of where their seed will be.
Right, yeah, they've been the model of consistency this year. So many finals. They've won in Hermosa, of course.
Great block right there. So to the left of your screen, it is Jake Dietrich and Hagen Smith, and to the right, the #1 seed, Theo Brunner and Schalk. That's a good look at Brunner at the net, one of the best and most feared blockers on tour, and that is the reason why it takes up so much area, and that is going to be a huge challenge for Dietrich and Hagen.
Yeah, it certainly will be. They play a very physical brand of volleyball, but the block of Theo Brunner neutralizes a lot of physicality in a lot of players.
Hagen Smith, son of the legendary St. John Smith, misses that one right there, and it's a 4-0 quick start for Brunner and Schalk, and that results in a quick timeout for Dietrich and Smith. This is going to be an uphill battle.
It's going to be an uphill battle. This is an early timeout. Give me your thoughts on the 4-0 timeout. I mean, obviously you want to stop the bleeding, but there's still a lot of game left. Do you like the early timeout?
Well, I mean, you haven't put a point on the board as of yet, so you only get one timeout per set, and if this thing gets more out of control, it's, you know, they're at a loss anyways. So, yeah, go for it. Use the timeout. Of course, you have that break at the technical timeout at the culmination of 21 points, but after a long warm-up, you're thinking you're ready to go, and then all of a sudden, it's 4-0, so you gotta recover. And there is Brunner at the net.
Yeah, just excellent timing. You see him wait until Hagen's up in the air, and then that's just good instincts, right? Throwing your hands up when you see the on-2 ball coming. Theo, one of the best in the world at that particular skill right there, blocking at the net.
6'7" is Brunner. He'll start at the net. Here comes Hagen-Smith with a nice controlled shot. I think that's what it's going to come to, is the finesse shots. Don't try to overpower and go through, because Hagen-Smith is 6 feet.
Yeah.
And he's going up against 6'7", so it's not easy to challenge that type of a block.
Yeah, I agree. You got to keep that good aggression in your approach so that you have both options should you need them, but you do have to be a little bit more crafty to work around big Theo Brunner.
Schalk really has improved his game, I think, from last year to this year tremendously as a defender.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, he's been at the top of the game for quite a few years, as we heard in the introductions, at 2016 Olympian for Canada, of course.
We are going to take switch at 6-1.
He and his partner from Canada, Ben Saxton, really a formidable pair on the world tour. He switched nationalities, or however you want to say that, had to kind of sit on the sidelines internationally for a couple of years to sort out his U.S. citizenship. But he and Theo have been playing great volleyball all year, and they just seem to be getting better and better.
Yeah, it's interesting what you say about Schalk. Played for Canada in the 2016 games and has since switched over. You can only represent one country regardless of how many passports you have. And he actually became an American citizen when he married Lane Carrico. But in terms of playing and representing the United States and switching over from another country, you have to wait 2 years, which seems to me like a tremendously long amount of time to wait and sit on the sidelines. But he played during that time on the AVP tour, waited it out, and now he's playing for the United States, and he's got his sights set on Terrace, and he's got himself a heck of a partner in Brunner.
Yeah, I would agree, and they're along with probably Tri Bourne and Trevor Crabb out front of the race to be in Paris for the United States in 2024. Obviously, my guys Taylor and Taylor would like to have something to say about that, but
that's right. Rich Lamborn, coach of Taylor Sander and Taylor Crabb. Fortunate to have him up in the booth as he's pulling double duty here in Chicago. And it's awesome. We get a little behind the scenes perspective of what goes on in those rest areas. And I think I want a few more of the secrets.
Well, how about that right there? Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, but the effort rewarded right there. I love to see the groveling, and you get those good trickle plays when you give max effort.
Hagen-Smith played for UCLA, was a setter there. Spectacular setter, and such an athlete. So dynamic physically.
Yeah, they had kind of a unique system at UCLA, because he was there with Micah Ma'a, who's another, you know, kind of similarly sized, unbelievable all-around athlete. And they ran a 6'2", which is unusual in the men's game. But, you know, what do? You got to have athletes of that caliber out on the court. And Coach Spera at UCLA finding a way to keep both of his athletic studs involved.
And a Paul 16-14, they win set 3. Look at that, 26-24, then 16-14.
There's a good look at Hagen-Smith. You know, he was named after the Hall of Famer Ron Von Hagen. And he's He's got the highest jump recorded today. Look at that, 29.4. This guy gets up and out of the sand. Here comes the right side. Came Schalk. Hagen Smith all over it. He's going to have an opportunity to score, and not just yet. He goes right to Schalk. And that set a little tight. Tries to pull out a lefty and misses. And, you know, that's the big thing with Hagen Smith. He has all the tools out there. Just needs to put it all together on the same weekend.
Yeah, and you got to give some credit there to the block of Theo Brunner, right? Just kind of the intimidation factor there, because we've seen him get a couple already on Hagen, and such a physical guy that you can tell there's something going on when he's trying to craft his way around, right? He's thinking about that block of Theo Brunner at least a little bit.
That ball just out of bounds, and Schalk trying to go maybe a little too high over Jake Dietrich, who Jake was born in Woodland Hills. He started playing volleyball at Pierce College under Eddie Stalinowski and Bo Daniels, and then eventually transferred to UC Santa Cruz. And then he finally made the move down to Orange County to start training with a lot of the top pros, and I think that's where he saw a real drastic payback from that dedication. It's so important that you're playing against great players and training against great players if you want to get to the top. That's what he was able to do, and there is Brunner again taking away a tremendous amount of space. What makes Brunner such a solid blocker and better than a lot of the blockers out there?
Well, I think it starts with his reading ability. You know, he's a middle blocker at Santa Barbara, and even for a couple years on the indoor national team. So you know, as such, he's going to be a very skilled blocker. His ability to read out here combined with his physicality, he's kind of sneaky physical, you know. This is no slight to him, but you wouldn't look at him and think he's the explosive athlete that he is, right? I mean, he's a guy who's touching close to 12 feet on the sand. So combine a reading ability with that also ability to explode out of the sand, and you've got the blocker you've got in Theo Brunner.
The Phoenix Championship. Give me a second. I'm getting a span wrist.
Here's a good look at Hagen Smith on the left, Jake Dietrich on the right. Communication going on there. And speaking of St. John Smith, his father, taking a look at the most wins on the men's side. Karch Karai with 148, St. John Smith 139, and Stoklos at 122, Steffes at 110, and then Phil Dahlhauser at 102. What an exclusive club that is right there on the men's side. Just 5 players, and every one of them a legend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, legends top to bottom. It's so impressive to me that Phil has over 100 wins, because he didn't have a lot of seasons where there were 25, 28 tournaments to play in domestically like they did kind of in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, I remember when I started playing in the mid-90s, there was 25 events on tour, and so, I mean, you're playing half of the year. That was a time when players weren't playing internationally nearly as much, so now you kind of have to play double duty. You play domestically, you play internationally because of the Olympics, and you're absolutely right. Phil Dahlhauser did not have nearly the opportunities annually to rack up some of the points as some of those other players, but nonetheless, he got to that Century Club, which is absolutely outstanding. Here's Hagen Smith. Oh, that was a beautiful shot. The rotation, everything was there. It just was a couple inches short.
Yeah, a little bit of a tough set back off the net. But yeah, going back to St. John, I mean, he and Randy Stoklos, obviously one of the premier pairs in the history of our sport. And the great genetics being passed along to Hagen Smith. You see with the pop from the right side right there. And he's kind of taken those genetics and run with them. I mean, look at the pipe stain.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is from the Rich Lamborn school of working out. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I've never gotten out of the sand anywhere close to the level he's doing it, though.
Yeah, his vertical leap, and that's why he's recorded the highest jump so far today, and that's by no mistake. That happens just about every weekend for Hagen. And then, you know, we have to mention as well, St. John Smith, Randy Stoklos, they won over 100 events as a team. Which is just amazing. I remember when I used to go down to the beach and sleep the night before the Laguna Open to get a good seat, and St. John and Randy were the guys back then. I remember getting a signed hat from St. John that I think I could find somewhere still so many years later. But talk about ambassadors of the sport. St. John and Randy were pretty amazing in that regard. Little flare quick set, and doesn't fool Jake Dietrich. He sends that one back, and Dietrich and Smith are in striking range.
Yeah, they are. We talked about that timeout they called it 4-0, and that's still the deficit, 4 points. So they've done a nice job since that timeout. And there's a nice ace serve.
Such a difficult serve from the right side to go line to line. There's not a lot of room for error, but that's exactly what you're looking for. Pinging the outside of the line. It's Hagen Smith.
Yeah, Hagen's obviously grown up around the game, so his control out there is kind of good beyond his years, so to speak.
It's funny, he has so many mannerisms of St. John. Just the way he kind of navigates and walks around the court. It's fun to see.
Yeah, you've kind of seen those compilations like on TikTok or whatever of Charlie Woods and how many mannerisms he's got like his dad Tiger. It'd be good for somebody to do a little mashup like that of Hagen and St. John.
Yeah, he's got that volleyball in his blood for sure.
He's got the flowing locks. You know, he's a pretty sort of stereotypical Southern California looking kid, right? And Jake is also a Southern California kid, but he looks more like he's auditioning for a part on Homeland.
You know, I like is the Hagen Smith, when he came on the scene, he kind of replaced Stafford Slick.
Yeah.
You know, there's just no one with that look.
Stafford trimmed the locks quite a few years back, right? Much to the chagrin of female volleyball fans everywhere.
No lock. Sure.
Stafford Slick. There's been rumors of him coming out of retirement.
Oh, really?
Somewhere.
I saw him last weekend, actually. We played a little friendly exhibition match with Miles Partain and Paul Lottman down in San Diego, a Wave Volleyball Club. They were nice enough to host us down there. And Stafford living down in North County, San Diego now. So he came out. It was good to see him and his burgeoning family. He's got 3 now.
Wow. Did he say anything about?
He said, if you'll defend behind him, he'll come out of retirement. I think that was what he said.
4, and it is set points.
Stafford Slick. That was my last match on the AVP. I think back in 2010 we played in Hermosa. We won a match, but didn't make it too far in the event. But that was fun. That was his first match win on the AVP tour.
Oh, there you go.
You gotta find the silver lining. So just like that, 20 to 14 make it. It'll be set point for Brunner and Schalk. Nice little roll shot by Kane Schalk, and never doubt here in that first set they got up to a 4-0 start, and they never looked back. So 21-14 win in set number 1. Set number 2 coming up next.
It's the choices we make that define us. Tryon Trevor is coming off a tough, heartbreaking loss.
And ultimately, the enemy is within. Some people want it, some wish for it, but others make it happen.
Tryon Trevor, super lethal, bringing fire and passion to the court.
How will you take charge?
I'm Carrie Walsh-Jennings. I've played with lots of injuries and sore muscles. KT Tape has helped me push past the pain. Today, clinical studies prove what I've always known, that using KT Tape before, during, and after workouts can reduce muscle soreness. Whether it's the Olympics or the local gym, pain is pain.
Tape up with KT Tape, the #1 kinesiology tape. Use it for muscle soreness and many common injuries. KT Tape, train longer, finish stronger.
KT Tape works for me, it'll work for you.
At Corner Bakery, we're making your choice simple with choose 2 options every day. Choose 2 of your favorites and turn a simple lunch into a perfectly paired meal. And we're not talking about a few choose 2 options. Pair up any sandwich or panini, any cafe fresh salad or warm simmering soup, or any pan sauteed pasta. So many kitchen crafted options, so little time. Your perfect choose 2 combination is waiting at the Corner Bakery.
What a beautiful day. Lake Michigan right there. Everybody having a good time here at the final Gold Series event as we take a look at the set 1 stats where Brunner and Schalk took the first one.
Yeah, you see those 4 blocks of Theo Brunner to go along with 9 errors on the side of Dietrich and Smith. Those are 2 categories they're going to have to fix if they want to stay competitive in this match. They kept it competitive about midway through, but Theo Brunner really able to impose his will at the net, close that out. And that's kind of been, you know, we talked about Theo and Kane being in so many finals, and that's really something that they've fixed this season, I think, compared to seasons prior, is their consistency level. And we saw that in the first set.
Yeah, I would agree with you as well as we look at the beautiful blue sky in the background here on the edge of Lake Michigan, Oak Street Beach to be exact, for the 2022 Gold Series Chicago Open. 21-14 was our first set, going to Schalk and Brunner. And we're just getting set number 2 underway. Hopefully it's a better start for Jake Dietrich and Hagen Smith, who, as you mentioned, Rich, started down 4 points. And then after that timeout, they kind of settled in. And so don't want to give up those points early. Don't want to be working yourself out of a huge hole.
Yeah, so tough, the team of Brunner Schalk, because we've talked a lot already about Theo's blocking, but Kane, one of the premier defenders behind him, just controls the ball so well. And their transition setting is another area that they've smoothed out really well, and what makes them so formidable.
And you mentioned, you know, an interesting point, because, you know, I've had a lot of conversations on it as well. Kane Schalk has become not only a better defender, but being 6'5", 6'6", his window's so big in transition, so it takes a lot of pressure off of Brunner to put the ball perfectly in transition. He doesn't have to worry about that.
Yeah, and they've done some things like kind of increase their tempo in transition, which I think as a bump setter, which Theo primarily is, it's a little bit easier to locate if you just kind of flatten the ball out just a little bit. Kane's also a kind of a sneaky jumper. He can get out of the sand pretty big. So that kind of goes to your point about his window being pretty large. All those things working in their favor when it comes to scoring points.
Nice up by Brunner on the drop. Hagen's there as well. That ball's tight to the net, and Schalk's going to get an opportunity. No one up, and he goes right at the retreating blocker. Hagen-Smith found himself in a tough situation to make the play.
Yeah, we saw the great pull dig from Theo Brunner, and then a great overhand dig from Hagen right on top of it. But again, just consistent play from Brunner Schalk.
Brunner really getting up over, you know. I don't blame Hagen for going for it. He's flying. He's so high up in the air. Looks like he's going to go deep and over, but it's so hard to get over Theo Brunner. I do like the aggression. If you're Hagen-Smith, keep coming in with an aggressive approach.
Yeah, you can't let Theo force you into being soft. You know, I mean, he's a good blocker, so he's going to get his here and there. You got to keep swinging. So long as you're not just, you know, closing your eyes and unloading as hard as you can, which I don't think is the case.
What do you think of Hagen's serve? He's kind of a two-handed toss with no spin on it. Looks like he's almost going to do a jump float serve, but he rips it with topspin. So many unique jump serve techniques.
Yeah, there really are, and that's a nice shot there.
Right to the corner pocket.
I don't know. Do we know if he's got that same toss that goes into a jump float serve? Because I like that toss if you've got a variety of serves that come out of that toss. If it's just a two-handed no spin toss that goes to your jump serve, you know, whatever you're comfortable with, as long as you can repeat it.
Yep. Oh, Hagen Smith up on the net with a huge block right there, and that's a little different. Jake Dietrich focusing on his serve, leaving Hagen-Smith up at the net, and he says, you know what, Theo, I can block as well.
Yeah, and you got a nice look at the springs there.
Dietrich's kind of got that one-footed layup jump of a serve, and Came Schalk says, you might have got my partner, Brunner, but I'm going to get it through you. But Hagen-Smith getting up.
Getting up. It's interesting because that's the rub in being a small blocker. If you've got springs like Hagen does, you can affect the hit. But then the trouble is when you get a touch like that, you're up so high, it takes a while to come down before you can make that secondary move, right?
Smart play, Jake Dietrich.
Jake Dietrich really putting some nice shots together. We've seen him hit both deep corners right on the X almost. And that comes with touch, you know, and volleyball IQ, with experience. 7-6, Brunner and Schalk. There's that topspin rip serve from Hagen, and wow, talk about sneaky quick, as you said, Rich Lamborn. That is Came Schalk just detonating that ball.
Yeah, and again, it's good to remind your opponents that you've got that, right? We're more accustomed to seeing Came kind of chip in and slice up his opponents, but he can go to the whip.
Little trickler, and that causes some trouble. Dietrich not able to keep that one in, and it's 9-6, Brunner and Schalk.
Yeah, and that's been the story a little bit here of this match, right? Just when Hagen and Jake get close, a couple errors creep in, or a couple loose plays, let's call them.
Going way up top, it's out of bounds by just about an inch and a half.
Great effort by Jake Dietrich. That just goes to show you never know when you're going to win the point or not. Looked like they were in position to completely lose that point. Brunner and Schalk had an open net. Looked like their offense, a free ball situation, and they hit it out. That's why you got to go hard on every play.
Yeah, if you can just keep the ball alive. sometimes good things will happen for you.
Here comes Jake Dietrich. Theo Brunner with a nice roll shot cross court. If you're just joining us, this is number 1 versus number 16. Theo Brunner came Schalk, who won in Hermosa earlier in the season. They're taking on the number 16 seed of Jake Dietrich and Hagen Smith. Stadium court here at the Chicago Gold Series, and there's Theo Brunner. That was a picture-perfect block. Head was down, pressing over, timing impeccable.
Yeah, just kind of casts a shadow over this line swing attempt from Jake. Big right arm, right in the right spot.
Smart call right there by Hagen Smith. Line, and Dietrich obliges.
And 4 contacts is the call.
4 contacts there. Looked like they had played it right, but apparently there was no touch up on the block from Dietrich, and therefore Brunner and Schalk got the 4 contact violation.
Yeah, that's an interesting one where you're sort of relying on the ref to see what you think you saw, right?
You know, it got really interesting, and I don't want to get too far off track here, was when they had replay. You remember when you had to stop down the play?
Right.
If it was a touch, you know, if you thought you saw a touch, but the ref didn't call a touch, you kind of had to stop the rally. You couldn't continue the rally, and that was challenging from a player standpoint.
Yeah, that makes sense, but you certainly have to be confident and aware all at the same time.
Yep. 12-9 as we go into the technical timeout here. Brunner and Schalk with the win. Make your Gold Series Chicago Open predictions on Bally Play's AVP Predictor game and take your shot to win 6 VIP tickets to the championships in Phoenix. Just scan the QR code or go to ballyplay.com/AVP to make your winning predictions. If you predict correctly, you win a free VIP package to the championships in Phoenix. Get your picks in now. Who's your pick?
What am I picking?
You can't pick your team, the Taylors. Who else is on a roll? Or
Okay.
you don't want to say it?
Well, yeah, I mean, if we're looking at statistics, Brunner Schalk have been there at the end of just about every tournament this year, so you got to like them as a pick. I like the idea that the VIP winners get to go out to dinner with you on your dime. Now, is that true or is that a rumor?
They don't want to go out to dinner with me. They want to go out with Cam Irwin or one of the players.
Everybody wants to go out to dinner with Cam Irwin. I think you got to win a bigger prize package to get that.
I heard that as well. And here we go, 12-10. Brunner and Schalk with the lead, receiving. And there's that quick arm on the right side from Schalk. Loves that crossbody. Here. It's a good look at that. Dietrich's in the right spot.
He's in the right spot. That just had a little too much pop from the former Canadian.
Brunner and Schalk just making every single play very difficult for Dietrich and Hagen Smith. They're just having to work so hard just to get the side outs and to get those points on the board.
Yeah, just those little bang-bang plays. Schalk and Brunner are controlling.
Off the head and into the stands.
That was a big rebound off the side of the head of Theo Brunner. Good thing he's got that hat on backward. Sometimes you see that ball hit the bill of the hat when you're wearing it forward.
Yeah, it's nice to see that miss the glasses as well, because that'll cut up your nose from time to time. The new Oakleys are so good and so well made. Usually it kind of mitigates any injury of that sort, but still not comfortable to have a ball pounded right in the bridge of your nose.
Yeah, I think so many people, especially younger players, as this shot goes to the corner by Brunner, they don't think about their eyewear and how important it is to have safe eyewear, right? Never wear a glass lens, never wear something with hard plastic on the nose guard. It's got to be resilient and be able to kind of explode and pop off of your face. Otherwise, you could really get yourself in trouble.
Yeah. A little Laura Ludwig-esque right there. Came so on that cut shot, it just goes right over on one with it.
Yeah, we're actually we're starting to call that the Sarah Hughes. I think she's using it even more than Laura did that time we saw her this morning on Stadium Court. She must have had 5 of them.
Well, with, you know, certainly deference to Sarah Hughes, and congratulations to her and Kelly Kolinski on their big Manhattan Beach Open win. As soon as they get a gold medal in the Olympics, we'll call it the Sarah Hughes, and until then, I'm going to call it the Laura Ludwig.
I like that. I like that. Laura Ludwig, what a spectacular player she is, and I guess the question's still out if she's still competing or not. But what an entertainer, so fun to watch, and that over on one is a play where you can catch the other team off guard. That's the whole thing. The defense is set, you're not ready, and we've seen a lot of teams start to implement that. When it's open, to go for it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's one of those things, though, that's similar to dumping over on 2. Like, you gotta really decide when to do it and when not to.
Yeah, that's the key factor there, is the decision making.
18-13, Brunner and Schalk in complete control so far from the start. Remember that 4-0 start in the first set, and they have not looked back. Came Schalk with a jump serve cross court, and that one just out of bounds, so make it 18-14.
Yeah, that's maybe their only hiccup. In previous tournaments, we've seen them have some less than stellar opening rounds, but that's not the case here today. They've been smooth start to finish, in control, like you said, and really very, very consistent.
Making it look easy right there was Kim Schalk, almost knowing that Dietrich had to go to that back right corner, scooped it up and chopped it down.
Yeah, and there's kind of a nice look at the tempo that they push in transition, right? So you really have very little opportunity to get set up defensively against them when they've got a chance to score.
Oh my goodness. Theo Brunner with a one-handed stab from the backcourt, showing that he can play defense. That was impressive, how calm he was in the pocket for not a traditional defender.
And we saw him with the overhand dig a little bit earlier. I mean, it's he's got some pretty uncanny ball control.
Awesome dig right there. It's 19-15. Brunner and Schalk with the lead. Little shoot flare set to the outside, and Schalk makes that one look easy.
2015 for Schalk and Brunner.
Teams will switch sides, and it will be match point for the #1 seeded team, Theo Brunner and Kim Schalk.
I just heard it.
Sky ball attempt by Kim Schalk, and the crowd wanted it, and he gave it to him, but wasn't that pretty.
Yeah, I think he might be 0 for on the season. You know, the good news for he and Theo is that they get in these positions where they can afford to, you know, have a little bit of fun in those match point moments. But the bad news is he's yet to make a sky ball, I think.
Well, he'll keep working on it, but his game on the court, aside from the antics, was sharp today. 21-14, 21-16. Brunner and Schalk would love to get their second victory of the year on the 2022 AVP Tour. We mentioned earlier they won in Hermosa, and they would love to win here in this final Gold Series event.
Yeah, very businesslike, very consistent, as I said, start to finish effort from Cave Schalk. Theo Brunner on the back of some huge blocks from Theo. See if we can get his total. It was 6 or 7 probably, huh?
Yeah, he was on fire. You know what? They kind of made a statement early on with that 4-0 lead that they were going to own that net space, and they controlled it. It was a tough day for Dietrich and Hagen, but there were some real solid defensive plays and really glimpses from them. I think it's all about consistency. They have what it takes. It's just doing it over time.
Yeah, so often that's the case, right? We talk about it a lot, and certainly the consistency edge went in a big way to Schalk and Brunner today.
There you have it. Dietrich and Smith not hitting well enough to take on that #1 seed who hit 444. And the blocks were on fire. 6 blocks for Theo Brunner. Just 2 for Dietrich Smith. So Brunner and Schalk, the #1 seed, will be moving on. They take care, quick work of Dietrich and Smith in straight sets.
Thank you.